Hi everyone, we're back again with the knit along with some helpful tips. All the sweaters are 2 colors in a row. So all the graphs you're going to be looking at will only have 2 colors. Even if some of the sweaters are multicolored, like this one here, there's 3 colors in the sweater, or in this sweater here, there's a little more color. There's only ever 2 colors in a row, and while you're following the pattern. And so what we're going to talk to you today about is carrying your floats on the back. And this is a good example of a good gauge on your back. So you want to make sure your floats, a good rule is go no more than 3. Some people do a little more, and I'll show you where the 3 you need to actually be able to control your tension on the back. Otherwise you get waffling on your front side. So as you can see here, this has a good rhythm. Now, way back in the day, my mom and I got into the habit of going every stitch. So this is KPPM, and this is doing 1 color on this side. It's doing 1 color and 1 color, but you can carry your floats on the back every stitch, which gives a nice fabric and also floats that you're not going to get your hand caught in. This here is a perfect one. I'll keep referring to this one because this is a great float backing. Also, this sweater was knit by my mom. The sheep, this sheep sweater. I don't know if you can see it. It's upside down. We'll fully look at it here. And this is out of our Kirsty yarn, which is a DK weight. And my mom knit this, and this would have been done every stitch she crossed after. Now we knit European, so it's a lot easier to do it that way. If you are using the ring on your finger, I don't have one to demonstrate here. Maybe we'll do that in the chat on our groups later on, and maybe show some knitting with the ring. It's a bit harder with the ring to get every other, but at least you can get every 2 or 3. Now the sheep does have a lot of floats, so this was a swatch of the sheep to just see the brown. It was knit up very quickly, so we weren't paying attention to our floats. So as you can see, these floats, if you went to block this piece, we're going to have puckering. And we don't want all these floats like this because it'll cause a lot of puckering on this side once on the public side, let's say, once the yarn is. So you can see on this one, you don't have these long floats. The other thing is the long floats. You're putting on your sleeve in and you're going to get caught. Long floats and mittens like that are very uncomfortable. So 1, 2, 3 maximum. That's something that is a very comfortable. You also get a gauge that's better. Now in here, there's some areas on this sweater, the floats are a bit longer, as you can see in this stretch here. They're not necessarily to pick up, but the sweater was knit at a nice gauge and the front part is not puckering. So those are things that require practice. I would suggest if this is the first time you're knitting, I would go maximum 2 colors before I twist the yarn. So I'm going to show you how I do it. Like I said, I knit European, and I need to, when you're knitting in the round, also it's a lot easier. And so like we explained beforehand, let me grab this sweater. The sweater is knit into the round until the underarm. And the public side is all the time facing you. And then when you get to the underarm and to the shoulder, it is back and forth. You will need to purl a certain side. But at that point, you've gotten the hang of the whole pattern, the 2-color knitting. And it's, for some people, it might be a little challenging, but a challenge sometimes in your knitting is going to be fun. And so I am going to show you, I have swatched on here, and on the back side, I have, you can see some of the twists in here, me grabbing the yarn. So we'll just get this yarn started. So I'm just going to knit a couple stitches in, kind of creating my own sort of combination. There we go. So I've got a few stitches in. Now I'm going to take this blue color, and now I'm going to add the blue. And when I add the blue, I've dropped my white just because I'm starting it, but I've got too many threads here. And this is just a demonstration of crossing your yarns. So you can hold both of them. Now if you knit British, this is more the continental way. So if you had one of those rings, you can decide. And then sometimes I just drop the yarn and then pick up the stitches and then drop the yarn and pick up. So I'll do 2 blue, and I won't pick up the other yarn. That's 2 blue, and then I'm going to cross my white. It's handy when I don't have so many ends here. Cross my white, and then do 2 blue, and oh no, I have 4 blue here now, and I had my white crossed, and now I'm going to just do 2 white, or I'll do 3 white. And then because I did the 4, I crossed every 2. And oops, there I go, white again. My blue is not enough of a contrast. So this is another big thing, is with 2-color knitting, you want enough of a contrast when you have your colors that are all in the same row. Sometimes you want that effect. So I did pick this blue color, and the effect, it is hard for me to see it because they are actually at the same tone, and so it becomes difficult to actually see the same tone, and you sometimes might not see your nice 2-color work pattern. Where you see here the red is a big contrast. There's a couple of methods we can discuss to do that, and we'll just do that in a minute after I finish this row. We'll get some skeins together, take a pause, and then get some skeins together, and then we will show you some tricks how to find out if you have the right colors knit side by side in the row. So as you can see, there's no long floats here, and it's all nicely tucked in. I do have a float in here. It's a bit longer for 3 stitches in between here, but it's not too tight, because if I pull out my threads here, it's not going to pucker on the front. So you have to just make sure that you have a nice even flow, no puckering like this, and that it works out well. Okay, so I'm purling back on this row, and I'm just going to knit the color that I had there before, and I'm crossing over the stitches. And it can be cumbersome, but you can get a really good rhythm doing it, especially if you get the idea of the pattern, and you just keep your fingers twisting. Now I'm doing almost every stitch here. because I did every stitch in the colors, but we're going to end up in long floats in a second. And I'll just catch up here. So I have 4 whites here. So what I'm going to do is cross over, knit 2 together, 2, and then I'm going to cross it so it doesn't have a long float and it has a nice gauge, because I didn't want to do every stitch. Now it does twist, so I went back the other way just to avoid twisting the yarn. And so in my finger here, I undid that twist and it just loops in here. You have to make sure you don't do it too many times, wraps around. And there's 2. And then now my yarns are untwisted from the last time I knit them. Purling is a lot easier that way, to go and untwist it from. When you're doing it in the circular, you end up in a rhythm going all the same direction. Just periodically move the yarns in a different direction. And knit. And I crossed over. I didn't need to, but it's all loose at the end here because I started and didn't tuck in my ends. This yarn, you have to be careful your yarn doesn't split. And 1 more to the end. So then that's on the wrong side, and then we go to the right side, and it's sitting all very nicely. I will now go and knit and crossing over. I'll do the same color in the same spot again, just so that it's easier to see. Now at the end here, because I didn't cross over, sometimes you might want to cross over just so that your selvage isn't kind of bare, because your crossing over actually makes a thicker fabric. And if you just have a knit row and not crossing it over, then it does produce something different. You might want it, and it kind of can set off your tension. And so I'll do those 2 again, cross over. Now some of the patterns will have longer crossovers. Just remember to do it at least every 2 or 3 times. Some of them are just 1 and 2s, which is very handy because you're just changing your color many times over. And we'll do that at 2. I can get into a rhythm just crossing after every stitch. As you can see, I go for it just because I've had that rhythm to do so. But again, you will find your rhythm of doing every 2 stitches in long float areas. And then the blue, I don't know if you're seeing the different colors because they are very close. And we'll take pause and get some skeins to show you how you shouldn't have certain 2 colors in a row. So we're working on some color pickings with 2 color knitting and 2 colors in a row. So we wouldn't pick these 2 colors because they would be the same hue. So one way to tell that is you can take a black and white photo. Most phones in their portrait setting, you can just take a look under portrait and go to the black and white area. And these basically will not have any difference. But if you put then these 2 together, there's enough contrast here. Another way to do, if you are a quilter, know someone who's a stained glass, get red glass and put it over, and it'll also show. So this would be darker, this is lighter. It's enough of a contrast. Now you would think these 2 blues here were enough of a contrast, but they're actually the same hue. So these would totally get lost in your work Sometimes you want a little bit of highlight and a bit of work, but if it's hard on your eyes, you know that it's not enough of a contrast. Like if you had the green against here, these two darks actually would not work together because, again, when you're looking at the sweater at a distance, sometimes the two colors do not work together because your intensity of color is at the same level. And so play around with your colors, see what would work. Most of our kits, we've already done that for you. A lot of it will have white, and we don't go too light. They'll go with dark, or the natural gray, again, is also another, this is like a taupe or a natural color like this, works really well. And so if anyone had questions, throw it into the chat on our Facebook group, and we can answer and help you out if you're having trouble with some of yours that you wanted to change a bit of the color. I mean, remember, at the end of the day, you're knitting the sweater, so you can do different things yourself.